Welcome back to the Benchwarmers Recap. If you are listening to this, you already know.
Oh, you know.
You know exactly what day it is. It is Sunday, January 18th, 2026, and I don't care what the meteorologists say. The sun is shining significantly brighter over College Station today.
It absolutely is. And honestly, it's shining pretty bright over Austin, too, but only if you're wearing the right shade of maroon.
Exactly. Look, usually on this show, we try to keep things, objective. We look at the stats, we analyze the trends. But we have to be honest with you right off the top. The vibe is just electric right now following what happened yesterday. We are talking, of course, about the massive headline-grabbing result from Saturday night.
Texas A&M 74, Texas 70.
And we aren't just talking about a regular season win here. We need to frame this correctly right off the bat so everyone understands the gravity of this.
This isn't just a tally in the win column. This is history.
It is history. Okay, let's unpack this context. Because for the younger listeners, or maybe just those who haven't been obsessively refreshing the record books, they might not grasp how long this drought has been.
Yeah.
This was A&M's first victory in Austin since 2002.
2002? I mean, think about that. That is 24 years. A 24-year drought on enemy territory.
It's unbelievable.
The first iPhone wouldn't be released for another 5 years? Facebook didn't exist? I mean, there are players on that court who weren't even born the last time the Aggies walked out of Austin with a win.
It's incredible. And it creates this, psychological barrier. When you walk into that arena, you aren't just playing the five guys in burnt orange. You're playing against 2 decades of failure.
Right. And it wasn't a quiet game in a library either. The scene was set at the Moody Center, and from everything we saw, it was hostile.
Oh, yeah. You had the light shows, the neon flashing, that intense Lone Star Showdown atmosphere.
It was a cauldron. It was designed to intimidate. And that's what makes this recap so interesting today. Our mission is to figure out exactly how they pulled this off. Because on paper, this looked like a nightmare matchup for the Aggies.
Oh, totally. You have the crowd, the history, but mostly you have the size. And that's where it gets really interesting. We need to talk about how A&M overcame that massive size disadvantage.
And a halftime deadlock where it felt like momentum was slipping.
Right. And just managed to, paint the town maroon.
It really comes down to a clash of styles and, honestly, a clash of wills. So let's get into the mechanics of it.
All right, segment 1. We have to talk about what I'm calling the physics problem. Because coming into this game, the physical disparity was glaring.
Glaring is the right word. You have to remember, the Aggies are playing small ball right now. It's not necessarily by choice. It's out of necessity because of Mackenzie Ngwolko's injury.
So you have a lineup that is just scrapping for every inch.
Right. And small ball is a term we throw around a lot. For the listener who might just think it means short players, maybe break down what that implies tactically.
So traditionally, you want a big center to protect the rim and get rebounds. Small ball means you trade that size for speed and spacing. You put more shooters on the floor, you play faster, but you were vulnerable in the paint.
And A&M was extremely vulnerable. They were countering Texas's lineup with Rashaun Agee.
And specifically, AG is listed at.
Yeah.
Well, what is he actually?
Well, on the roster, he looks fine. But Bucky McMillan, the A&M coach, was very specific about this. He said Agee measured in at 6'5¼ without shoes.
6'5¼ versus Texas's Matas Vokieaitis.
The Lithuanian wonder, a legitimate 7-footer.
That is a 7-inch height difference at the center position. In basketball terms, that is an ocean.
And early on, that ocean looked uncrossable. I was watching that first half, and it felt like Vokieaitis was just doing a layup drill.
He was. If you look at that first half, the size was the story. Vokieaitis started incredibly hot. He had 11 points and 7 rebounds just in the first half alone.
It was simple geometry. He would seal his man deep in the paint, catch the ball high, and just turn. AJ could play perfect defense, but he simply couldn't reach the release point.
And the rebounding numbers reflected that immediately. Texas was cleaning up the glass.
Right. Texas out-rebounded A&M 22-16 in that first half. They had an 8-4 advantage on the offensive glass.
And that creates second-chance points, and usually that just demoralizes a smaller team.
Oh, totally. You work hard for 24 seconds, force a miss, and then the big guy just reaches over you and puts back in.
But, and here's the key, they didn't break. Despite the rebounding gap, despite the size difference, they went into the locker room knotted up. 29-29.
That halftime score was a miracle of resilience, and actually a bit of a cliffhanger.
It was, because A&M actually had a little momentum right before the break. You had Ruben Dominguez and Ja'Kari Lane putting together a 7-0 run to actually take the lead.
Exactly. But then, as is tradition in this rivalry, chaos happens.
Of course.
Texas's Tremont Mark hits a buzzer-beating three-pointer right as the half expires.
Talk about a gut punch. You fight all half, you finally grab the lead, and then bang, tie game as you walk to the locker room.
It feels like a gut punch in the moment. But if you step back and analyze it, that was a win for A&M.
How so?
Because of the strategy of hanging around. Think about it. A&M shot 43% in the first half, which is decent, but they were dealing with a massive height disadvantage and a hostile road environment.
Right.
If you are the underdog, statistically speaking, regarding size, and you are tied at halftime on the road, you have successfully dragged the giant into deep water.
So the pressure flips. Texas is thinking, we dominated the physical game, why aren't we winning?
Exactly, and A&M is thinking, we just survived their best punch.
Well, they survived the first half, they are hanging around.
Yep.
But you can't just hang around forever. Eventually, you have to punch back.
And that brings us to segment 2, the explosion.
Rylan Griffen.
Rylan Griffen.
Okay, I have to share this story because it captures the mood perfectly.
Ah.
Apparently, during the shoot-around before the game, Griffen was incredibly locked in. But in a weird way.
The shirt-off incident.
Yes. The reports were that he was out there for like an hour and a half, treating the Moody Center shoot-around like a pickup game at the park.
Shirt off, just sweating, getting shots up. It was this raw intensity.
But if you looked at the box score at halftime, you'd think maybe he left his game in the shoot-around.
Oh, yeah. 0 points. Goose egg in the first half.
If you just looked at the first 20 minutes, you'd say he was a non-factor.
And that's what makes the second half so remarkable. He finished with 17 points, and every single one of them came in the second half.
It was like a switch flipped. Talk about the turning point, because it happened fast.
It was a blitz. We aren't talking about a gradual warm-up. Griffen came out of the locker room and scored 10 points in the first 4 minutes of the second half.
10 points in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
That changes the entire geometry of the game.
It really does. He hit a massive 4-point play, hit the three, got fouled, made the free throw.
That's huge.
Then he hits a transition three-pointer that just silenced the crowd.
You could feel the air go out of the Moody Center on that transition three. It went from, we're going to overpower them, to, uh-oh, he's hot. Why does a transition three hurt so much more than a regular bucket?
Because of the speed. Texas is trying to set their defense, they are scrambling back, and before they can even locate their man boom,
It's demoralizing.
it signals that the other team isn't scared of you, they are attacking you.
And this connects back to who Rylan Griffen is. Coach Bucky McMillan had a great quote about this. He called him a Texas kid.
Right, he grew up watching this. McMillan implied that Griffen understood the assignment personally. He knows what this rivalry means. He knows the hatred, the passion.
So when he went cold in the first half, he didn't fold. He took it personal.
Exactly.
And tactically, what did that explosion do to the physics problem we talked about earlier?
This is the key. When Griffen starts raining threes from deep, the Texas defense has to extend. They have to send bodies out to the perimeter to guard him.
Which means they can't leave 3 guys in the paint to protect the rim.
Exactly. It opens up the floor. It creates driving lanes for everyone else. Griffen's shooting essentially neutralized Texas's size advantage by forcing them to play defense 25 feet from the basket.
So Griffen cracks the door open. But to kick it down, you need more than one guy. You need a system.
And that brings us to Buckyball.
Buckyball. It's becoming a brand, isn't it?
It really is.
But let's be critical here. Sometimes these coaching terms are just marketing fluff. Is Buckyball actually a tactical system? Or is it just play hard?
No, it's a very specific system. It's built on 3 pillars: pressure, pace, and depth. It's designed to be cumulative.
Cumulative.
Yeah, the goal of Buckyball isn't to win the first 5 minutes. It's to make sure that in the last 5 minutes, the opponent's legs are heavy and their brain is foggy.
And the stats bear that out completely in this game. Let's look at the bench domination.
This is the stat that won the game, in my opinion. A&M's bench outscored Texas's bench 20-6.
Wow. 20-6. That is not even close.
It's a landslide, and it connects directly to the turnover battle. Buckyball relies on ball security and forcing mistakes.
Okay.
A&M turned an 8-6 turnover advantage, which seems small, into a massive swing in points off turnovers. They had 15 points off turnovers compared to just 5 for Texas.
And A&M only committed 6 turnovers the entire game.
6 turnovers in 40 minutes of high-intensity basketball on the road. That is discipline. That is elite.
And speaking of elite moments, we have to talk about the dunk, the revenge dunk.
Jamie Vincent.
Jamie Vincent. Now, for context, Vincent transferred from Texas to A&M, so he is walking back into his old gym wearing the maroon, and they ran this beautiful play for him.
It was an elevator play, just a perfectly executed set.
Okay, stop there. Explain elevator play for the listener who hasn't seen it, because it's such a cool visual.
Okay, so picture two of your teammates standing shoulder to shoulder near the free throw line, like the doors of an elevator.
Got it.
The shooter, Vincent, starts under the basket and runs straight up between them.
Amen.
As soon as he passes through, those two teammates step together, effectively closing the doors.
So the defender chasing him runs smack into a wall.
Exactly. Vincent cuts through, the doors close, the defender gets stuck, and Vincent is wide open at the rim.
And he didn't just lay it in.
No, he threw it down. He tried to tear the rim off. It was symbolic.
It was A&M asserting dominance with a player that Texas let go. I love that. It's like the ultimate "how do you like me now" moment.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is why depth matters in road games. When you are playing against size, your starters get beaten up. They get tired wrestling with 7-footers.
Right.
But A&M had fresh legs. Jamie Vincent comes off the bench with explosive energy. By the time we got to the final buzzer, Texas looked gassed. A&M looked like they could play another half.
McMillan talked about that maturity, didn't he?
He did. He called them a true team. He admitted that earlier in the season, maybe the guys didn't even know each other's names yet. But now, they are fighting for each other.
And that chemistry is the engine behind buckyball.
For sure.
So you have the Griffen explosion, you have the bench dominating, but you still have to close it out. And closing out a game in Austin is never easy.
No.
Segment 4, closing the door.
This is where the game was won defensively. Remember how Vokititis dominated the first half?
11 points, looked unstoppable.
Second half, the Aggies held him to 3 points and 2 rebounds.
3 points. That is a masterful adjustment. How do they do that?
They changed the coverage. They started fronting the post, meaning they put a defender between him and the passer to deny the ball entry, and they swarmed him.
They just made his life miserable.
But mostly, credit has to go to Rashaun Agee.
Agee was a warrior.
He finished with a double-double, 17 points, 11 rebounds. Against a guy half a foot taller than him, he was just relentless.
He was lower to the ground, more physical.
Yeah. And it wasn't just us noticing it. Texas coach Sean Miller had some high praise for Agee after the game.
Oh, yeah. What do you say?
He did. Miller basically said Agee is one of the better players in the entire SEC. He said, he hurt us, but he's hurt virtually every team that they've played.
That is massive respect. It's an admission that they just didn't have an answer for his motor.
Right.
But, of course, it's the Lone Star Showdown. It couldn't just end comfortably.
Never does.
Texas made a push.
They did. You have to give credit to Jordan Pope and Dalen Swain for Texas. They both ended with 17 points. They led this late 8-hour run.
It got scary there for a second. They cut the lead to 3 points with just 7 seconds left. The crowd was roaring. The lights were flashing.
This is where young teams usually crumble. They throw the ball away. They miss a free throw.
But A&M didn't panic. And that goes back to that maturity we discussed. Jakari Lane steps up to the free throw line.
Ice in his veins.
Seals the deal.
And the celebration? Oh, man. The description of the traveling 12th man. I love this line from the recap. It said they were grinning all the way to the Buc-ee's in Bastrop.
You know that Buc-ee's in Bastrop was absolutely swarmed with maroon about 45 minutes after the buzzer.
Oh, absolutely. Beaver nuggets for everyone. It's a rite of passage. If you win in Austin and you're driving back to College Station, you stop at the Bastrop Buc-ee's. It's practically the law.
It is. But that image really captures the culture shift. McMillan talked about this being a team that fights for each other.
Right.
It wasn't just about beating a rival. It was about proving that their style, this gritty, small ball, high-pressure style, works anywhere, even in the Moody Center.
So what does this all mean for the season? Because the celebration is great, the brisket sandwiches are great, but there is still a lot of basketball to be played. Segment 5, looking ahead.
Well, looking at the standings, A&M improves to 14-4 overall. But more importantly, they're 4-1 in the SEC.
That puts them right near the top of the table.
It does. And in the SEC, road wins are like gold bars. They are rare and valuable.
And a win like this acts as a springboard. It validates everything you are doing in practice.
And the schedule keeps moving. We've got a big one coming up fast.
Wednesday, Jan 21, hosting Mississippi State at Reed Arena.
That's going to be a fun one. I have to imagine Reed Arena is going to be deafening for that game after this road win.
Absolutely. The energy will be off the charts. Then they have South Carolina at home and Georgia away. So this is a stretch where they can really solidify their position.
Momentum is everything in college basketball. And right now, the Aggies have all of it.
They do. They prove they can win ugly, they prove they can win pretty, and they prove they can win when the physical matchup says they shouldn't.
So let's recap this Benchwarmers recap. A&M goes into Austin. They face a 7-footer who dominates early. They face a hostile crowd. They go down early on the boards.
But they win the turnover battle. They absolutely destroy them in bench points. Rylan Griffen catches fire, and they paint the town maroon.
They conquered the Moody Center. Plain and simple.
They won the math battle by taking fewer bad shots and forcing more mistakes.
I love it. Now, before we let everyone go, leave us with one of your signature deep thoughts. What should the listener be thinking about as we head into the Mississippi State game?
Well, here is the question that I think the rest of the SEC needs to start asking themselves. We spent so much time talking about the mismatch of A&M being too small.
Right.
But if Texas A&M can dominate the paint outscoring Texas in the paint in the first half and holding their own in the second and win on the road, playing small ball against legit 7-footers, what is the ceiling for this team when they face matchups that actually favor them?
Oh, that is a good question.
If small ball works against the teams that are supposed to crush it, what happens when A&M plays teams that don't have a size advantage? Is buckyball actually the perfect antidote to the SEC's size?
Because if you can't catch them and you can't hold on to the ball
It
against
doesn't matter how tall you are. You're going to lose.
speed kills, and apparently so does depth. Well, that is all the time we have for today's Benchwarmers recap. Enjoy this one, Aggies. It's been a long time coming, 24 years to be exact. We will see you right back here after the Mississippi State game. Gig 'em.